Hello and welcome to our 5 minutes with Ekaterina war vlog about Dnipro, the central Ukraine. Today it is 15th of April and we celebrate the Easter week. Last Sunday was the Orthodox Easter and it is the official holiday in Ukraine and also it is the official holiday in Russia and for the proposal or with the offer of the Ukrainian side, Russians agreed to stop the bombing for this one Sunday, and the ceasefire was about to stop at 3 p.m. On Saturday. Yeah, so Russians can celebrate Easter effectively because in Ukraine, going to the church and mass gatherings were forbidden. You can go to the church on Sunday, but without making crowds, so you cannot attend actually the Easter service. You only can join online because we don't trust Russians, and the threat of bombing was there. So Ukrainians didn't want to risk it, and it is the fourth Easter that we have to stay at home. It is almost like lockdown times because the government is afraid of the massive bombings. And right 30 minutes before the ceasefire or before the Easter ceasefire, Russians bombed Mykolaiv, so they literally bombed us all the time, and civilian people died in this bombing. And then the next following Monday, Russians also started the bombings. They since then, so now it's Wednesday, and they already bombed Dnipro twice, and in the previous bombing, 5 people were killed by Russians, and all of them are civilians. More than 20 people are now in hospitals with different traumas. Some of them are very serious conditions. There are many more wounded people who are treated at home. The ruination of houses, it happened in the place where there are smaller houses, not high-raised buildings, and it was during the daytime as well, so people were around actually doing some things, and it is just devastating to see the footage. Again, it was near the road, so people in the cars suffered a lot of injuries, and it's absolutely heartbreaking to see these rescue operations. And then tonight, during the night, Russians bombed the downtown of Dnipro again, and uh, this time it was high-raised residential buildings mostly, and along with them it was the university building. It was the night time, thankfully, so in the university there was nobody, and also the drone hit the residential building, but again it was a direct hit, so it arrived into the building, but thankfully the building is still in the renovation phase, and people were not inside, because otherwise if it was the building where people live currently, there would be definitely victims, because the flats were damaged. If you see the footage, it's just terrible and heartbreaking to see. And as a result, more than 2,000 windows were gone. And probably I already told you that when you have the drone attack, even I'm not even talking about the rocket attack, if the drone arrives just falls in the ground before your building, there would be the wave. And it happened in my neighborhood in winter, and we went to see what happened around the neighborhood, and you will see the house where with one floor where the windows will be gone, then on the next floor you will have 2 or 3 windows intact, and then you will have all other windows are gone, and then you will have the whole building with the windows but a few floors. So it depends how the heat, how the wave goes, and the buildings surrounding this heat place, they would suffer. So people who are inside, they have these injuries connected with broken glass, and that's what Russians are doing. And also I just want to clarify because I showed one of these pictures during the exhibition in the UK, and I explained what was happening, and I showed the residential building. I'm pretty sure you saw the footage. I wouldn't just put it here, but there was the residential building which was not directly hit by the missile. It was just the one where missile landed nearby, and the windows were gone, and they started to be boarded with a wooden board. And I said that regretfully our home looks like this now. And there was a woman asking me, do you mean it's still home for you? And I was like, well, no, of course people still live there, so people will still live in this house. And she was pretty much in disbelief. She was like, how somebody can live after the arrival of the rocket in your house? So, and I see that there is kind of disbelief and misunderstanding. Basically, when you don't have window in your apartment, just think about it as about an earthquake, for example. The windows are shattered. Probably inside you will have all this debris. There will be something fallen from your shelves. Maybe some glass inside will be broken. You will have a lot of dust. Maybe plaster from the wall will come off in some places. But you're cleaning it, and then you are changing your windows and you still live inside. So this is the same situation if the rocket attack or drone attack is happening, and we are talking about 2000 windows, probably one flat it will be 2 or 3 windows, so we will talk about 800 apartments that suffer it, and that means that these 800 families, they will still live in this apartment, so they are not evacuated, they don't go anywhere, they will sleep there the next night. That's why it's very dangerous when it happens during the winter, because the temperatures are minus 15 Celsius or even 10 Celsius. It's very cold, and people don't have windows and they have to spend the night at home. So that's the problem. You will have probably -5, -7 inside as well. So it's impossible to live there. That's why they board it very fast. Now it is spring and the temperatures are higher, so you will have the temperature maybe it might be like between 12 and 19 outside, and because of this, you will survive in the same flat with no problems, even if you wouldn't have time to replace the windows immediately. So it's a little bit easy-ish this way. It's not easy, it's terrible still, but it's not winter, and people stay in their apartments, people stay in the same accommodation, nobody goes anywhere. Some people might go to spend 1 or 2 nights with their relatives, and that's it. So unless it's a direct hit, and we had the situations when missile wouldn't detonate and the rocket will be inside of the flat, and that's obviously that's not a good place to live. That will lead to evacuation, and they will try to get the missile out of there. And sometimes I saw the situations when the missile will stuck there, so it's very difficult to take it out of the apartment. But if it's not the case, and if it's not the ruined floor, people will still live in the same building. So just to make it clear. In case where you have this flat, so even the block will be missing, they will clean the block, and the other blocks will be also livable if the building is not falling. People changing windows, with time they will do renovations and they will still be there. As for the who is covering it, the wooden boards usually are provided by local government, and then there is a program to which you can apply to fix your windows. But the queues are long, and I know that a lot of people, they would rather just spend their own money to do it, because you wouldn't wait for 2 months, for example, for the government to pay for your windows, and you wouldn't live for 2 months without windows in your apartment. So some people will get the governmental help for doing it, but some people will just pay from their pocket, and they would have to cover the damage themselves. So that's as for these bombings. And also another thing that I would like to cover, because there was some, I don't know if it was a bot or it was a real person, but on my Substack today I received the comments, because I was posting about it today, and I received the comment, why you so hypocritical, and you don't tell us about Ukrainian drones that are hitting Russian houses. So let me explain the difference here. First of all, Ukrainian drones are never targeting Russian civilian buildings. That's if you check it online, even if you check it in Russian media, they don't claim that we are targeting civilian buildings. And if we did so, trust me, Russians would be the first to let you know. So even Russian propaganda, Russian misinformation, they would not say that it's us. So oftentimes what happens with their buildings is that they use the anti-missile system, and it will be either their own rocket or the debris of our drones that is falling down. And also the difference, so that's the first difference. We don't target civilians, and Russians do target civilian infrastructure. Again, this time of the year when we should be in this celebration mood and when we have the biggest church holiday of the year, we are mourning. So today is the day of mourning, and in the day of mourning we have another bomb ban because Russians send bombs non-stop to the city. And as for the retaliation drone attacks, they're retaliative. So as soon as Russians stop bombing us, as soon as Russians leave the Ukrainian territory, restore the border of Ukraine as it used to be in 1991, so as soon as the border is restored, nobody is going to bomb Russians. Like they will just sleep peacefully in their beds, and actually, most of them sleep peacefully in their beds. And as the drones attacks are attacking mostly infrastructure and particular oil and energy infrastructure. So I don't know where hypocrisy is there. If we stop fighting, they will kill us in our beds. So if we stop doing anything at the front line, or if we stop sending the drones to damage the economy, uh, they will just kill us one by another one. So today I was showing us the footage of the Marinka, and I was also talking about Chest. I was talking about Bakhmut. Those towns are non-existent anymore on the map. There's not a single standing building there, and that's what Russians are doing. They're not going to stop. So basically, again, as soon as they stop it, as soon as they're out of Ukraine, we would not have this conversation, and there wouldn't be the situation when we are talking about poor Russian citizens that are suffering so much. So I don't see the hypocrisy here, and I don't think that we actually need to discuss this topic. And also the other thing, if we are talking about it from the position of the international law, in the international law, I'm studying now the principle of estopel, and it means that if you violate the law, if you violate the specific agreement, or if you don't keep your promise, you should be stopped from enjoying your freedom or enjoying the situation when they can say, oh, we were bombed. No, you were not attacked, you are attackers, and this is a retaliation, and because it's retaliation, you cannot claim any damage, and you cannot complain that something is damaged in your country. So I don't think any of you would be asking this, but maybe when you will be talking with your friends, when you will be talking maybe with your local politicians, or you will be somewhere in debates, and somebody brings these questions up, that's basically the answer. And again, hopefully you will not need to explain it more, because that's for me it's pretty obvious what's going on in this regard. The only thing that happened as a result of this recent talks about the ceasefire for Easter, we were able to bring back 175 war prisoners. It's a big exchange, and some of them were there since 2022, and some of them were prisoners of Azovstal, and some of them were commanders who Russians refused to exchange multiple times before. So for them and their families, it was a very happy moment. Regretfully, when you look at them, it's obvious that they have been tortured. Russians don't follow the convention about the humane treatment of prisoners. Unlike us, so if you see who we exchange, they're very well fed, and I wouldn't say that they're happy in our prisons, but they are treated humanely, and they receive medical help. They have enough food, and they sleep in good conditions as well. So they have beds, they have bed sheets. And as for the Ukrainians, most of them are tortured, severely tortured. When I'm saying tortured, I'm not only talking about beaten, I'm talking about the electric current, I'm talking about rape, I'm talking about the water torture, so all kind of tortures that you probably saw in the history textbooks from the pretty much wild times. So that's something that they would experience. And also they do not have enough food. Sometimes they do not have food at all. And also many of them would have these conditions where the sleeping conditions, living conditions, they would not be appropriate. That's why it's also painful that it's a happy moment, but it's very painful every time when you meet them and you don't know what the health state is, and you don't really know if they will survive the next year, because sometimes it happens that because of the wounds and because of nervous system, when they go home it just breaks down. Not everybody survives, but I'm very happy for these people. I hope them all the best, and I do hope that they not just survive but integrate in society back, will restore their health fully, and that hopefully they will not need to fight at the front line anymore, because Russia will be defeated before this. And the other war crimes that I cannot miss, despite it's not Dnipro itself, in Kharkiv region, Russians bombed another dam, and if you remember Kakhovka dam destruction near the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, which is still occupied by Russians, this led to the environmental disasters, this led to human loss, this led to the loss of species of plants and animals, and it is something regarded as ecocide. And now, because Russians do not achieve their goals from this spring campaign, thankfully, they decided to bomb another dam, which is also keeping the big water reservoir in Kharkiv region, and they sent six like big rockets into the dam. You can find the footage online. Again, I'm not showing any graphic images. I think that it's enough graphic images on the news, but probably it would not be the last attack. If they started attacking it, they would try their best to destroy it. And after they know about the consequences, after they know what will happen next, they still do it. So they are not only committing genocide by deporting Ukrainian children and removing their identity, and by bombing civilians, by killing civilians, leveling all towns that they can with their bombs, but also they would like to commit this ecocide crime and destroy the environment, destroy the habitat for plants and animals that are totally innocent and that are totally unable to defend themselves. So it happened yesterday, literally yesterday, yeah, and it's still not clear what the consequences of this exact bombing will be, but also it's not clear what will happen during the next attacks. As for the other things, it's more or less stable, I would say. Yes, there's still food in the supermarkets, the prices are still growing, so in a way it's getting worse, but in a stable path. And as for the electricity, the blackouts, the scheduled blackouts are back, and the electricity outages are there. Russians continue to target the electricity infrastructure, but not as fiercely as during the winter. But we are moving into the hotter period, and the predictions of the weather predictions are that it might be as hot as 40 degrees, which is, I wouldn't be surprised because of the global warming. And we had it last summer, we had it the summer before, so that might be the temperatures. And because of the need to cool the equipment, to cool the food, to cool the houses, the electricity demand will be higher, and there will be more outages. So that's the prediction. We'll see what will happen, but that's something that is discussed in media a lot. And we wouldn't touch the international, the global politics. I think you're following. And right now, Russians have this advantage of selling the oil and gas, and the economy is feeling a bit better. Although I don't see this beneficial processes in this regard, but again, it's stable, that more or less the situation is more or less stable, and I don't see huge successes there from the Russian side towards it. So I think that's it. Sorry for taking longer than usual, but I haven't talked to you for a while. And thank you very much for watching. Thank you for supporting Ukraine. Thank you for everything you're doing. And I hope that we will see each other next time under better circumstances. Goodbye for now.